Well, hello everyone. This is Mike Dotterer, and it's afternoon here on the East Coast, and it's morning on the West Coast. And I want to wish everyone here in North America a wonderful day. And you're on the dot. We have a very special guest. And before I bring him on, I want to just tell you why I'm so excited about the Players NIL. When I was a young athlete, student athlete, I didn't have any guidance as far as financial literacy. What is branding? This was many years ago, and I would have greatly benefited from a program like the Players NIL. And I'm so grateful for my friend Don Murphy, who introduced me. It seems like a few years ago to now my good friend and partner Mark Koesterer. Mark is the founder of the Players NIL, and I'd like him to introduce himself, tell you a little bit about his background and the exciting things that the Players NIL are doing and bringing forward to this ever-changing landscape of amateur and professional athletics. If you have a dream to be an athlete, whether at the amateur level or the professional level, the Players NIL is an amazing organization. So with that, I'd like to bring on Mark. And welcome, Mark, to On the Dot.
Michael, hello. Happy 6th of July, sir.
Happy 6th, yes. And it seems like a long time ago when you started this, but it was just a short time. And maybe you could tell everyone that's listening a little bit about your background and how you came up with this amazing vision for the Players NIL.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on today, and thank you for the kind words and introduction. And so the Players NIL is really a culmination of a lifetime of experience, a lifetime of passion, and a fortunate product of a lot of people along the way giving me guidance. And probably the most important person in that journey was my father, who was a junior high gym teacher, an ocean lifeguard in the summer. He passed away in March of 2021. And when he passed away, as the oldest in the family, I was charged with writing his obituary. And in doing so, I was amazed at how many programs and how much contribution he gave to the community, to the people around him, to his friends, to his family. And it really set me on a course of trying to give back. He taught me at an early age that probably athletics was a good way for me to improve my life. I was fortunate enough to get a college scholarship and play, and my roommates and teammates from football are some of my best friends, as I know they are to you, still today. And so I then took that message and took that mission and I advanced it a little bit. And I was fortunate enough to use athletics to not only better my life, but better the lives of the people around me. And that was my community, my family, my children, my friends, and the people I worked with. I used a lot of lessons from athletics to help build several businesses. So that's the background of why we started the Players NIL. The timing was coincidental, and we can go into that when you're ready. I can't hear you, Mike. You're on mute. Mike, you're on mute. Oh, there you go. Say it again.
All my friends out there, they like when I'm on mute. Well, Mark, when you were an athlete, and then you brought up three beautiful children, your children, your boys, they were athletes. And then you had this vision to come up with something that you could give back and help pave the way for future student athletes. Could you talk about how you came up with the vision of the Players NIL and where it is today?
Yeah, great question. So just serendipity. I left my previous company June 1st of 2021. And for those that don't know, name, image, and likeness, NIL is what we'll call it, was legislatively approved on July 1st, so 30 days after. And after looking at it for several months and trying to understand what a possible position in that world might look like for myself, I realized that there were many of the same characteristics that I'd seen in professional athletics and in professional business life, and that was a lot of adults taking advantage of uneducated kids. And name, image, and likeness creates an opportunity for student athletes to profit from, just as the acronym suggests, their name, image, and likeness. So in practical purposes, prior to July 1st, 2021, student athletes were not allowed to make money off the field or off the court because it would jeopardize their amateur status. But post July 1, 2021, that's no longer true. So being paid to do appearances, social media, promotions, sign autographs is now legal. And there's been a lot of changes since July 1st. And we can talk about that. But essentially, my vision became my father's mission, and that was to give back. And so in order to do that, I've realized that my journey probably was going to be based on education. In January 12th of 2022, just a few short months ago, we launched the Players NIL website. During that period of time, we created a website, we created a vision, we started a podcast, we started networking. Between LinkedIn and YouTube, I have almost 1,000 hours of networking and working with people. We established an academic council to create the curriculum of the 5 pillars, which we can talk about. And next week, on July 12th, we're going to launch our curriculum, and we're very excited about that.
Well, yes, the 5 pillars, that's something, as you can see in my background here, I've got the NIL, the team and the rowing, because you're all rowing together. And the 5 pillars, I wish when I was a young student athlete that I had this system available, but I'm so happy that you've had the vision and put it together. Could you talk a little bit about the 5 pillars with our audience?
Sure, and it's evolved since we started. As NIL has grown, so has the Players NIL, and we now think of ourselves as creating a for athletes center of excellence. And we've created a vision to support student athletes from age 16 all the way to 61, so 1-6 to 6-1. And it starts as a junior in high school, and we believe that in those years, the 5-pillar course is our first offering. And it educates student athletes and their families on what I believe are the 5 most critical topics that are needed and required to master your NIL opportunities. They also happen to be life skills in today's world. And so pillar 1 is digital marketing, so social media management. It sounds simple, and many kids and student athletes have their friends and family as followers. But how do you grow that audience? How do you create something larger than your immediate circle? The second one is, if you can do that, how do you leverage that with brands and influencer relationships so that you can monetize NIL and create opportunities? Pillar 3 is a little bit more mechanical. It's tax, legal, and compliance. So there are tax issues, there are legal issues, there are compliance issues, which are going to be changing in the future. The 4th pillar is my father's pillar, and that's community service. And so I believe it's a great way to give back. It's a great way to build mental health and wellness away from sports. It's a great way to connect to an audience and build an audience. And the 5th pillar would be, if we're successful with the first 4, financial literacy. And maybe everyone from age 18 to 61 needs to take that portion of the course. So our first phase will be the 5 pillars course for high school and college athletes. We then will get into phase 2, which will be post-career guidance, and we can talk about that when you're ready.
Well, I definitely would like to take the course. And I think, it doesn't matter whether you're an active athlete or someone that's a retired athlete. These courses, these pillars can be helpful for all ages because it's lifelong learning. And so I encourage anyone, whether you're currently climbing the ladder to whatever your goal is, or you're maybe your career is behind you, but you really like to know about what all this is all about, you can participate in this amazing organization which Mark has put together. So Mark, yes, there's been a lot of changes in the landscape right now, especially in college athletics. What's your thought about the future, and what's your message? One of the things that we do on the dot is you get the last word. So I'm not going to ask any more questions. You can take it away and to just share, because there's people listening live all around the world probably right now. What's your message about the future and how they can participate in with this amazing organization? And what I will do, I will flash at the bottom of the page here. I'm going to flash the banner how you can get more information. So
Excellent.
Thank you, Mark.
Great. So of course, and thank you. So it's evolved. It took many years for name, image, and likeness to come to fruition, but in 12 months, I think it's taken on a life of its own. I think it's bigger than people thought. I just read something that there was a prediction that would be a $500 million industry. I think they've exceeded 700 million in student athlete contracts and approaching $1 billion in year two, no question. I think the hesitancy from the schools to jump in and to get in the middle of it is a little bit surprising to me, but I understand that. I think the number of companies that are involved in this marketplace world of creating a forum for brands and athletes to talk to each other about deals has become, larger than life. Over 300 companies in that marketplace space. I think the word collective is being used to basically describe booster clubs on steroids. So for the first time ever, legally, boosters and supporters of athletic programs can pay student athletes for services. There are restrictions about what that looks like. You cannot pay for play. You cannot use it as an incentive or an inducement for recruiting, but we know how the real world works. But I think collectives have taken on a life of their own. And part of the reason that you see this consolidation of the Power Five schools is because the collectives have taken over the power in terms of influencing student athletes. And so the one thing that hasn't grown, which we're here to help, is the education required. So I don't care if you're at a Power Five conference school, a quarterback in the SEC, a basketball player at Kentucky, a football player at Stanford. You still need to learn about these pillars, and you still need education. And although you may have a team to support you, probably you still need to master these. But our program is geared to the 98% of the student athletes that don't have that support system, that maybe there isn't an NIL coordinator on campus. Perhaps it's a local marketplace. So perhaps it's something that they need to develop. And we have additional opportunities to get into podcast coaching and apparel design, logo design, so the entrepreneurs of the world can advance their brand. NFTs are something that grow. And then the post-career guidance. Other than Tom Brady, everyone else, the ball stops bouncing at some point. And mental health, physical fitness, networking, job creation, investment guidance, building a brand, raising money, starting a business. Those are all things that the Players NIL Center of Excellence for Student Athletes will manage, and hopefully we'll change people's lives. And I hope that we will live up to my father's legacy, and that is to leave a legacy of student athletes whose lives are better because they were connected to the Players NIL.
Thank you, Mark. And was so excited, really grateful to have you leading this amazing new organization to help student athletes all around the world, whether they're just getting started or someone like myself who definitely will benefit from the curriculum and the 5 pillars. So thank you, Mark. And don't hang up. We're just going to turn off the broadcast. Wishing everyone a wonderful day. And again, check out, you can just go to that link, theplayers.com, theplayerSNIL.com, right down below.
Thank you.
Care.